I'm Alex Patt. I'm a PPC specialist at JumpFly.
PPC is digital marketing. So tell me what drew you to marketing in the first place.
So I originally did a marketing class in high school. That was kind of my first introduction to it. But when I went to college, that wasn't my main focus. My main focus was on broadcasting and art. So I spent college doing TV, radio, participating, everything there. Got really heavily involved in sports media and journalism as well. So I wanted to start a career in that. And then as time went on in college, I was networking with people and getting into the sports media scene, doing a lot of writing and creative content online for sports. And then I started doing that after I graduated, and I realized that media like that was good to do on the side as kind of a side gig, but I really needed a full-time career because sports media is very competitive. It's very difficult to get into. Even when you know people and you network, it's very difficult. So I was kind of trying to find a new career, and marketing kind of found me again. There was a company looking for a seasonal temp. It was a travel company. They were looking for someone to help them during their busy season to help create ads for them. They were a company that sold solutions to hotels, and these advertisements actually went on GDS systems. So they were to travel agents. So this wasn't your typical digital marketing, but it was advertising. So I started as a temp. I did that for a few years. Then I got hired full time as a campaign manager. So I was managing campaigns for these hotels. And then the pandemic hit and the whole industry just fell apart. So eventually I needed a new job. I was looking in a similar career field, and then JumpFly just kind of appeared, and I said, hey, that's advertising. I've been doing that, and I applied and eventually got the job.
Well, I'm sure they're very lucky to have you. So tell me about your opinion of the company. What experience have you had thus far, and how do you gauge that decision to go to work for them?
Yeah, so what really stuck out to me when I first interviewed with the company was they said that nobody really leaves, that people have been around there for a very, very long time, and people love the family-oriented culture of the company. And, at my last job, it was a good job, but it was a global company, and I was just kind of an individual number, where I feel like with JumpFly, I'm really valued as a person because everybody here knows me. I know them. They know kind of my individual talents, my personality. So, just coming to JumpFly and being able to really be myself and help contribute in that way, just as an individual with my own skill sets, really stands JumpFly apart from any other job I had before.
Well, JumpFly obviously has several account managers. Who do you work with? And tell me about the different experiences you might have had with different managers throughout the company.
Yeah, so I've primarily worked with Jeff, and we've kind of developed a partnership over the years. He's the account manager, I'm the specialist, but we both work hard at strategies and communicating with the clients and bouncing ideas off each other. I did have a chance for a few different moments in my early time at JumpFly to work with a few other account managers. I worked with Carrie a little bit, Dane a little bit, Nikki a little bit, but Jeff and I really found that mesh, and we've been together for almost 3 years now. I joined JumpFly about 3 years ago in early 2022, and I primarily worked with him.
Great. When you look at the duties and responsibilities as a PPC specialist, does that fulfill what you thought your role would be when you came to JumpFly?
Well, when I saw it as a specialist, I wasn't quite sure exactly what it would entail. Sure, I got the basic gist of what I was going to be doing, but I kind of discovered that even as a specialist, you help develop strategies as well. Obviously, you're not the final decision maker on that, but you help develop different strategies for different clients, and you kind of do more in-depth work than maybe you would initially think as you would an account manager. But getting that chance to be able to do it has helped me learn a lot of things. So I think getting deeper into strategy is definitely something that I wasn't sure how deep I was going to get into. And just the level of communication with some of the clients, because obviously the account manager is the main point of contact, but on a lot of day-to-day stuff, I like to communicate with the clients. If we're setting up meetings, or even if we're talking some strategies, I kind of lay out saying, hey, this is what we came up with, and this is how we're going to approach it. And you kind of get feedback from clients, and you hear what they have to say too. So kind of being a front man on some of that communication was unexpected, but I like it. It gives me a chance to kind of get in the seat of an account manager sometimes.
Well, earlier you mentioned that you kind of had broadcasting and podcasts and writing experience, and how did that lend itself to what you could bring to the table for JumpFly?
Yeah, so one of the side jobs I've had for a long time is in sports writing, whether it's blogs, articles, some news articles. I still do it to this day on the side, but JumpFly has a blog and they like everybody to participate. So I've been able to write for the JumpFly blog, obviously, as everyone else has, but just kind of bringing my writing skill set to the table with that. It's been fun to do because I'm so used to writing about sports and news. I never wrote about digital marketing before, so it kind of opened up a new door to try things like that. So I contribute a few blogs a year, and then, I've been in the sports podcasting world for a while, and right now we're trying to get a podcast off the ground for JumpFly, where we're going to talk about various digital marketing strategies and have some fun with it, have some discussions. And, it's a trendy thing now, podcasting. So I think if we get this podcast off the ground to be a part of it, it'll be good for me and the company.
Well, I'm sure that's a highly valued skill that most of the people at JumpFly probably don't have. They've been entrenched in digital marketing. But on the other side of it, what skill do you think you've developed from the PPC side that you might not have expected?
I think that there's a certain level of data analysis where, numbers weren't always my favorite thing. Growing up, math wasn't my favorite subject. But once you start working with a lot of this data, you kind of get better with a lot of the math that goes behind it. And you kind of realize, oh, this is stuff I didn't like to think about, all these numbers and everything. And then when you actually look at the data now and you're evaluating how a customer is doing, you kind of enjoy it. So I've just gotten a lot better at evaluating data, knowing what it means. And obviously, data is always going to be a big part of marketing, no matter what area it is. But, working with Google and Microsoft as opposed to what I was working with before, there are a lot more metrics. There are a lot more measurables, especially just because there's such big platforms. So, now I could say I'm probably better at numbers than I was 3-4 years ago.
Well, that's good because that can carry over into other things in life.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about JumpFly and your role personally, but as a company, what about JumpFly's culture and the people that you work with stands out? I know you had mentioned one of the attractions was that people don't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that you're embedded in this company for the long term?
I think so, definitely. I mean, it fits kind of what I was looking for very, very well. You get to meet a lot of great people. You get to develop relationships with them, people that are all easy, great to talk to. And I think what really stands out about JumpFly's culture is the fact that it encourages people to be themselves. Like, everybody has different personalities, skill sets, and they bring something to the table. And it's encouraged to bring that to the table in any way that can serve value to the company, even if it just means like, hey, this is going to help build our culture even better. You bring that to the table. If you bring something fun, like, hey, we could do this new initiative where we do wellness committees, or we do like get-togethers. It's stuff like that. No matter what it is, even bigger, like, hey, I'm bringing this skill set to create this new podcast or create this new blog or create this whole new department, which people have done here at JumpFly. The fact that that's encouraged, because there's plenty of other places where you could say, you get in, you do your job, you get out. It's not like that at JumpFly. You can truly be yourself and bring your personal skill sets and bring value to that.
People have to choose JumpFly. And I think with your description about the diversity in personalities, do you think that plays a role in why they might choose JumpFly, or what do you think influences that decision?
Yeah, I think the fact that personalities are so highlighted and the fact that everybody here is an expert, everybody gets to kind of flex their creative and they get to flex their creativity. They get to flex their expertise, because everybody's an expertise in a different area, whether you're SEO, PPC, marketplace. The fact that people know they can trust us and we know that we'll be forthfront and honest with them, I think people really find that attractive, because you could go somewhere and it's just like, all right, sign the contract, here you go, we're just going to do the job. We're much more approachable. We can flex our creative muscles when we need to, and we can think outside the box. And that just brings a lot of value to different people and what they're looking for, because everybody's different. But when you have this diversity in this company, you'll be able to find somebody that can help you out.
That's perfect. I think what's important, especially when it comes to client management, is that relationship and that communication. So have you found anything that works well for you to make sure that your client is involved and that you're communicating effectively with them?
Yeah, I think one of the keys is responding in a timely manner. And obviously, things are going to come up where you can't always respond right away, but you never like to leave people in the dark, leave people wondering, hey, why aren't I hearing back? Why aren't they giving me anything? Even if you just say, hey, we're looking into it, we'll get back to you. I think that brings a lot of reassurance to a client to say, hey, like, we know we got your back. We are hearing you. We see you. We're going to help you out. So I always kind of take the approach of always make sure they know that you're listening. Because if you leave a client in the dark too long, then they're not sure if they can trust you. And, there are clients too that they run for a while and we don't communicate back and forth. But I think the key is at least following up when you can. And when they reach out to you, be sure to answer very timely. I kind of like to think of it as if you get something within a day, whether what time of day it is, at least respond within 24 hours. I kind of try to keep that mentality, that approach with talking with clients. And even if it's just the smallest acknowledgement, I think that's really helped keep a good line of communication with other people.
Well, I think it also plays a role in keeping that the confidence of the client that they're important to you and important to JumpFly. There's jargon in the marketing industry. There's a lot of terms and things that people may not know. But what in a day-to-day environment might surprise somebody in this world?
So I think that there is this misconception of marketing among many people where they think, oh, you know what advertising is? It's a bunch of people sitting in a boardroom with a whiteboard saying, give me ideas. It's really not like that. I would say that just the amount of numbers that you're looking at, the data you're looking at, and the research that you do on an individual client might surprise people. You're not just sitting around in a boardroom discussing all these things. You're doing a lot of things individually. And the fact that there is a lot of collaboration, no doubt. You talk to your account manager, you might pick the brains of other people at JumpFly, which happens quite often, but it's not just this sit around, okay, we're going to come up with this ad in this boardroom on a whiteboard. There's so much that you do individually. You try some things, you try some new things, you make some adjustments, but I would say that as we keep going in this world where, everything is digital now and everything is always changing and you're going to rely a lot on AI, is that there's more individuality in it than just big group meetings.
Speaking of individuality, how do you learn about your client? What's important to them? What is it that you try to extract so that you can be the best advertiser for them?
Yeah, so part of JumpFly's process is, they talk to the client, they close the sale, and they give us an overview of what they do. But then we do a lot of digging ourselves. We go into their website, we understand their services, what they sell. And then when we have a kickoff call with them, we ask them to do an overview of their business. So they tell us everything they want us to know. And then one of the big things too is always communicating with them on what they want to focus on. So the hyper-focused areas are obviously where we want to put the most emphasis on. So there's always communication back and forth, whether it's talking with them on a call or an email, highlighting, what's important to them, who they're going after, what they want to focus on, what their business goals are. And just knowing that they're there to tell us everything they want us to know. Like, we can always reach out to them and extrapolate more information, because when we advertise for people, they want us to know everything. So whenever we're not sure about something, we always try to clear it up with them. So doing our due diligence with our research, talking with them, and then, understanding their industry too, that's a big talking point with them as well, because they know the industry better than anybody with what they're working in. They know who their competitors are. They know what the industry looks like in terms of, is it up, is it down, is it stagnant? They tell us all those things, and we really try to hit home on all those points. And there are times where we have to get some clarification. There are times where we might have to do a little more research on our own, but that line of communication with the client always really helps us understand who they are, what they do. And then the more you talk to them, the more you understand them on a personal level. You know that you can talk to them on a personal level about non-business related things. And when you build that kind of relationship with these clients, you feel more confident in talking with them. And that really, really helps.
You know, you really set the foundation from where you started and where you are now. But where would that take you? What type of role would you look for in the future with JumpFly?
You know, it's funny because it seems like an easy thing to say is, well, work your way up to be an account manager. But the way I see it is, I kind of like the idea of just me taking on other roles at JumpFly on top of my main role. I like being a specialist. I want to keep being a specialist, but I also want to be more involved with the creative digital media, like these interviews, this podcast, the blog. Having more jobs like that and more involvement, that's really kind of what I'm looking for while I'm here at JumpFly.
You mentioned AI, and we all know that the PPC trends have been changing. Is there anything in particular that excites you that might help with JumpFly or the clients that we currently service?
Well, one of the things that we have been doing the past few years is implementing Performance Max campaigns to a lot of our clients. And Performance Max is getting smarter, more sophisticated. It has more bells and whistles than when it started. So I think the future growth of Performance Max is particularly exciting. And AI is going to be a big part of that too, because AI is already helping you generate assets and generate audience signals and just giving you ideas on how to put together a Performance Max campaign. So I think, you know, just tying in AI and Performance Max and automation, I think that's the most exciting thing, because with Performance Max, you're able to implement all sorts of different ad types, and they're allowing for more video content. So there's more creativity that's being added to these campaigns. So you can only imagine where it's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now. It's going to get more sophisticated. It's going to have more bells and whistles. And I think more room for creativity and more room for that AI learning.
So it sounds like you, as well as JumpFly, have embraced AI technology. Is there anything that kind of surprises you or you think is going to change the way you manage an account with these?
Well, you know, we're kind of trying to learn on the fly with AI, because even when you look the past 6 months, you could already say AI is more sophisticated than it was. So it's really kind of just rolling with the punches and seeing how it evolves. But, you know, right now we could say, hey, we have custom GPTs that help us generate different ideas. So if you kind of have a hard moment where you're not sure how to approach ad copy or how to structure a campaign or maybe how to organize a campaign, turning into AI and saying, hey, can you suggest how to do it? I think that's going to really help. And it's going to save time, because as JumpFly continues to grow, we hope to get more clients. And when there's more of a workflow, then AI can help, you know, organize, help save a little time, help generate some ideas. So it's going to be good for all of us in terms of helping just generate more content.
Perfect. So client success is obviously important. Do you have any memorable success stories or anything that you thought, you know, we did this right and the client was overly satisfied, or, you know, exceeded expectations that we can triumph your skills as a JumpFly?
Yeah. So when I joined as a specialist, one of my first clients, you know, they're in the balloon industry, so reusable balloons. And it was not my first build, but it was one of my early builds. And I kind of made it my own. Like, Jeff is still the account manager, but like I do most of the work with it. It's kind of like my account almost. And from 23 to 24, we had a big revenue increase, but we kept it at a really good ROAS. Like the ROAS has been really good over the past few years, but we increased the budget, we really increased the revenue, but the ROAS was virtually the same. So to bring them more revenue on more spend with the same ROAS, that felt really good. And, you know, part of doing that is exploring the different types of ad types. So we implemented more Performance Max, we implemented more shopping, and, you know, I kind of put these ideas together and started hyper-focusing on some of the success areas, including like what keywords were converting, what products they were trying to push forward, and just doing these tweaks myself and putting this together. I could say their business is doing really, really well, and it's increased year over year, and we're still seeing the great results.
Well, thanks for your time. It's nice getting to know you, and I'm sure that JumpFly appreciates your contributions.
Thank you.